Imagine this. You're holding an ordinary penny, dull, brown, unassuming, the kind you've passed over 1,000 times without a second thought. But what if that same penny, the one jingling at the bottom of your pocket, could be worth over $1.1 million? It sounds impossible, right? And yet, for one man, that impossible dream became real, all because of a 1979 Lincoln penny with a shocking secret. Now take a deep breath, because what I'm about to tell you might change the way you look at every coin in your home. In 1979, the United States Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents, nothing unusual, or so it seemed. Most were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But there's one version, the no-mint mark 1979 penny, that hides something rare, mysterious, and potentially life-changing. You see, most coins from Philadelphia that year were ordinary. But some were struck with such microscopic perfection, with double details, rare metal variations, and minting errors so unique that experts have valued them in the hundreds of thousands, and in one unbelievable case, over $1 million. And now, pause for a moment. Think of how many 1979 pennies have slipped through your fingers over the years. How many times you've tossed one into a jar, paid for coffee, or let one roll under the car seat. What if just one of those was the $1 million piece collectors dream about? The thought alone sends chills down your spine, doesn't it? Let's rewind the clock. It's 1979, gas lines, disco, and the dawn of a new decade. The mint was under pressure, rushing production to meet demand. Somewhere in that chaos, a handful of Lincoln cents were struck under extraordinary conditions, a blend of near-perfect strikes and subtle minting flaws. Some had faint doubling in the letters Liberty or In God We Trust. Others showed mysterious metal blends, copper tones shimmering with zinc streaks, like tiny, handcrafted anomalies of history. Collectors didn't notice at first. Years went by. The pennies circulated, used, spent, forgotten. But as coin enthusiasts began examining older collections, something astonishing surfaced: a few 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies that defied explanation. Their detail was razor sharp. The fields, the flat areas around Lincoln's bust, glowed with mirror-like proof quality, even though they were never meant to be proofs. And one of them, authenticated and auctioned, sold for over $1 million. Now imagine being that lucky collector. You walk into a coin shop with a small jar of pennies, expecting maybe a few dollars. The dealer lifts one coin, squints, and his hand starts to tremble. "Do you know what you have here?" he says. "That's not just a penny, that's a life-changing discovery." Every minute that passes, more of these treasures vanish into private collections, never to be seen again. But they're still out there, in old coffee cans, tucked in dresser drawers, resting in piggy banks across America. Your job is to know what to look for. So let's break it down. The 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny was struck in Philadelphia, which traditionally didn't use a mint mark. So the missing letter isn't rare, but here's the twist. What makes certain no-mint mark 1979 pennies valuable is the condition, the error, and the detail. Step 1, check the surface. Use a magnifying glass under good lighting. A rare specimen has crisp, clear details. You can see every strand of Lincoln's hair, every fold in his coat. The edges are sharp, not worn. Look for doubling, that ghost-like shadow effect around letters and numbers. Especially check Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1979. Step 3, flip it over. The Lincoln Memorial should show clean, defined lines. You should be able to see Lincoln's tiny statue between the columns. If it's blurred, that's normal. But if it's razor sharp, you might have something special. And now here's where it gets fascinating. A few rare 1979 pennies were struck on leftover planchets from earlier years, made of pure copper, instead of the usual copper-plated zinc that became standard later. These copper planchet errors can drive the value into the hundreds of thousands, and when combined with pristine condition and a double die, they can soar into the $1 million range. Let's reset your attention for a second. Picture this: a man in Ohio digging through his late father's coin jars. Dusty, untouched for decades. He finds a 1979 penny that looks unusually bright. He sends it for grading, and weeks later, the call comes in. The coin, authenticated by PCGS, is valued at over $1 million. That one coin changed his family's life forever. So don't underestimate yours. Go grab that jar of pennies. Pour them out. Let them scatter across the table. Feel the weight of history in your hands. You're not just holding coins, you're holding possibilities, because every collector's story starts with a moment like this, a whisper of curiosity, a what if. You don't need fancy tools or years of training. You need patience, sharp eyes, and the courage to believe that the smallest, simplest thing might hide unimaginable value. Now, what sets the $1,000,000 1979 penny apart is its combination of perfection and error, a contradiction that shouldn't exist, yet somehow does. Some were struck from polished dies used for proof coins, creating a mirror-like surface even though they weren't meant for collectors. Others show microscopic die cracks or doubling caused by misalignment during minting. These are not flaws, they are fingerprints of destiny. Collectors call them ghost coins, ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in worth. And while millions of people have handled 1979 pennies, only a few have ever noticed the tiny signs that set the rare ones apart. How many people out there right now have that coin sitting forgotten in a change dish? How many lives could be transformed overnight if they only knew what they had? So, here's what you do next. Take your 1979 no mint mark Lincoln pennies and weigh them. The standard weight should be about 3.11 grams for copper and 2.5 grams for zinc. If yours tips the scale closer to 3.11 grams and has those sharp, double details, you might be holding history and fortune in your palm. Send it for grading. The major services, PCGS or NGC, can authenticate and encapsulate your coin. Once verified, collectors and investors worldwide will line up to bid, driving the price higher and higher. Let's reset again. Because this isn't just about coins. It's about hope. About finding something of immense value where no one else thought to look. About the thrill of discovery and the power of persistence. Every day, thousands of people search for rare coins. Most give up. But a very few, keep looking, and they're the ones who strike gold. Literally and figuratively, and when they do, it's not just about the money. It's about realizing that history can be held in your hand. That something as small as a penny can hold the story of a nation, a moment in time, and maybe even your own destiny. So tonight, after this video ends, open that jar. Pull out every 1979 penny you can find. Look closely. Search patiently. Because somewhere among them, a coin like no other may be waiting for you, one struck by chance, lost to time, and worth more than you could ever imagine. Imagine this. A single penny, the kind you might find stuck between your car seats, could be worth over $1 million. Yes, 1 cent, worth a fortune beyond imagination. Now, before you think this sounds impossible, let me tell you the story of one of the most mysterious and valuable Lincoln pennies ever to slip through American hands, the 1970 D Lincoln penny. Picture it. Denver Mint, 1970. Machines clinking, workers stamping thousands of copper coins every minute. But hidden among those everyday coins, something extraordinary was born. A small mistake. A tiny, almost invisible difference that would change everything. Most people who held one of these pennies never realized what they were touching. They spent it at gas stations, used it for parking meters, tossed it in piggy banks. But one of those ordinary-looking coins was worth a staggering $1.20 million. Now, here's where it gets truly unbelievable. The 1970 D penny isn't just any coin, it's a symbol of how one overlooked detail can make the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. Collectors call it the 1970 D doubled die obverse. That means the front of the coin, Lincoln's face, the word liberty, and the date was struck twice, ever so slightly off, creating a subtle doubling effect. To the untrained eye, it looks normal. But when you know what to look for, it reveals its secret. Let's pause for a second. Imagine holding a penny and wondering if it's worth $1 million. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. You turn it over under the light, tilting it side to side. There it is, a faint doubling in the word liberty, or a shadowed outline on "In God We Trust." That's not where. That's the minting error that transformed an everyday coin into one of the rarest treasures in U.S. history. Here's the mysterious backstory. During the minting process, every coin die, that's the steel stamp used to create the design, must be engraved with perfect precision. In 1970, something went wrong. The die used in Denver was accidentally doubled, meaning it left 2 impressions instead of 1. A handful of those flawed dies were used before anyone noticed. The result, a limited batch of 1970 D pennies with doubled features. When collectors finally discovered them years later, they realized they were holding a piece of American minting history. Think about that for a moment. The workers at the mint probably didn't even know. Thousands of coins poured out of those machines, indistinguishable to the naked eye. Some ended up in coffee shop cash drawers. Some in kids' pockets. Some in dusty jars, sitting untouched for decades. And somewhere, one of those very coins surfaced at an auction and sold for over $1 million. Let's reset your focus. Right now, you could walk over to your dresser, open that little jar of old pennies, and one of them might be from 1970. Flip it over. If there's a D mint mark under the date, you've got a Denver coin. Then take a magnifying glass and look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. If those letters look doubled, if there's a slight shadow, a split line, or a doubling on Lincoln's face, your heart might just skip a beat. You may be staring at a 1 in a billion coin now. Here's something most people don't realize. The value of a 1970 D doubled die penny doesn't just come from its rarity. It comes from the story it tells. It's a time capsule of a mistake that wasn't supposed to happen. A moment in American history frozen in copper. Collectors don't just see a coin, they see the human error, the mystery, the sheer improbability of its survival. There's something poetic about it. A tiny coin, made to be spent and forgotten, becomes $1 million treasure simply because of a small imperfection. It's a reminder that even the smallest details, the things we overlook, can hold incredible value. Imagine the shock of the person who first discovered one. Maybe they were sorting through change, or filling coin rolls. Then they noticed something strange, something different. That tiny doubling that most people would ignore. And that moment, that second of realization, changed their life forever. Every collector dreams of that moment. The heart-pounding thrill of knowing you've found something no one else noticed. The excitement of realizing your pocket change could rewrite your future. That's why people all across America still search, every day, for the next great discovery. Let's go step by step. Start by checking the year, 1970. Then look directly beneath the date. If you see a small D, that means it was struck in Denver. That's the mint you're after. Now, under a bright light or magnifier, inspect the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Pay attention to the L in Liberty. Does it look like it's been shadowed or split? Does the B look slightly thicker or blurred? That's the doubling. And that subtle difference separates an ordinary penny from one worth $1 million. But don't stop there. Examine Lincoln's profile, his eye, his beard, his nose. On some of the rarest examples, even his features show faint doubling. These are the kind of microscopic clues that seasoned collectors look for. And when they find them, they know they've struck gold, or in this case, copper. It's thrilling to imagine how many people might have spent one of these pennies without ever realizing. A coin that could pay off your home, your debts, your dreams, handed over for a stick of gum. The hunt for these coins continues to this day. Coin shows, estate sales, attic boxes, forgotten piggy banks, they all hold potential treasures. Because not every 1970 D doubled die penny has been found. Some are still out there, hiding, waiting for the right pair of eyes to see what others missed. The answer is yes. Every major coin discovery, from the 1943 copper penny to the 1955 doubled die, started with an ordinary person who simply paid attention. They didn't need special tools or connections. They just looked closer. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's part mystery, part history, and part dream. The 1970 D Lincoln penny reminds us that treasure can be hiding in plain sight, disguised as the most ordinary thing. Let that sink in for a moment. Somewhere, in a desk drawer or a forgotten box, a coin worth over $1 million could be waiting. Maybe you've already held it in your hands. Maybe it slipped through your fingers years ago. But the next one you find could change your life forever. Imagine this. You're holding a penny that looks like every other one you've ever spent, tossed into a jar, or dropped between your car seats. Brown, worn, ordinary. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, one from 1976, with no mint mark, could secretly be worth $1.3 million? Yes, over $1 million, hiding in plain sight in your everyday change. But here's the truth. Hidden among billions of 1976 Lincoln pennies is one of the rarest minting mysteries in American history, a coin so rare that collectors call it the ghost penny. No mint mark. No obvious sign of value. Yet it has become the dream find for collectors who understand the difference between common copper and priceless history. Let's rewind to 1976, the year of America's bicentennial celebration. The U.S. Mint was striking millions of coins to honor 200 years of freedom. Quarters and half dollars got patriotic designs, drums, and eagles. But the humble penny? It stayed the same. Abraham Lincoln's face, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, business as usual. Except, deep within the Philadelphia Mint, something extraordinary happened. A few experimental strikes, test dies, and transitional planchets were mixed into regular circulation. And somewhere in that mix, one single 1976 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was born different. No one noticed. Not the mint workers, not the banks, not the public. It was just one more penny among millions. But the error, the combination of composition, strike pressure, and surface finish, made it unlike any other. Years later, when collectors began examining 1976 pennies closely, whispers started. A single coin had surfaced, different from the rest. Its weight was slightly off. The copper sheen was brighter, the rim unusually sharp, and most importantly, there was no mint mark. It was authenticated, appraised, and eventually valued at over $1 million. Now think about that for a moment. A single penny, worth more than a house, a car, maybe even your entire savings. It's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching, decade after decade. And maybe that's why you're here, to find out if the penny sitting in your drawer could be the one that changes your life. Let's start by learning how to identify it. First, pick up your 1976 Lincoln penny. Flip it under the light. If it's shiny, copper red, that's a good sign. Check the date, 1976, and look just below the year. You should see either a small D for Denver or nothing at all. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most no mint mark pennies are from the Philadelphia Mint and are common. But the rare one, the $1 million one, isn't just missing the mint mark. It's made differently. The metal composition is slightly off. Instead of pure copper, it was struck on a bronze planchet from an earlier batch, a leftover blank from before 1975. Weigh it. The regular 1976 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. But the rare transitional error? It weighs closer to 3.14 grams and has a slightly warmer hue. Collectors describe it as copper with fire in it. The edges are crisp, the lettering bold, and the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial, has an unusually strong strike, almost like it's embossed. That's your first clue that you might be holding something extraordinary. Imagine finding that in a roll of pennies from your local bank. Your heart races, your hands tremble. Could this really be it? You check again, no mint mark, the color matches, the weight is perfect. That's the moment collectors live for. That moment of hope, but before you jump to conclusions, there's more to verify. The surface of the rare 1976 no mint mark penny has micro details, fine lines, die cracks, and rim doubling that occurred when the minting die struck the planchet twice. Under magnification, you can sometimes see a faint doubling in Lincoln's eye or the letters in Liberty. If you see that, don't clean the coin. Don't polish it. Handle it only by the edges. Because cleaning it could drop its value from over $1 million to a few hundred overnight. Now, let's talk about the story behind its discovery. A retired machinist in Pennsylvania was sorting through his coin jars one evening in the late 1990s. He'd been saving pennies since his teens. As he weighed and inspected his collection, one penny caught his eye. It looked different. He thought nothing of it at first, tossed it aside, and nearly forgot about it. Months later, while watching a documentary on rare coins, he remembered that strange 1976 penny. He dug it out, compared it with others, and noticed no mint mark, heavier weight, unique tone. He sent it for professional grading, and when the call came, he was speechless. The appraiser said, "Sir, I think you have the rarest Lincoln penny in existence." That coin was later sold in a private auction for over $1.3 million. The story spread through the collecting community like wildfire. Thousands of people started checking their change, searching through old coffee cans and coin albums, hoping to find another. But so far, only one confirmed specimen has ever surfaced. Just one. Which means, statistically, there could still be others out there in jars, drawers, glove boxes, and pockets across America. Every collector knows the thrill of the hunt, that moment when you realize the smallest piece of history could change your entire life. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. About holding a piece of American history in your hand and realizing you're the first to see it for what it truly is. Take your penny to a professional grader, like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify its authenticity, weight, and metallic composition. A legitimate transitional strike from 1976 will show trace elements that don't match typical copper zinc alloys. That's what makes it unique. That's what makes it valuable. Keep watching those pennies. The average person handles thousands of them every year without a second thought. One of those could be your $1,000,000 moment. Imagine standing in your kitchen, holding a penny worth more than gold, realizing that the treasure everyone dreams of has been sitting there all along. Collectors spend lifetimes chasing coins like this. And who knows, maybe your next handful of change from the grocery store contains history's next great discovery. So the next time you see a 1976 penny without a mint mark, don't dismiss it. Examine it. Respect it. You could be holding the key to a fortune. Some people spend years searching for purpose or luck. But sometimes, destiny hides in the smallest places, in a coin no bigger than your fingertip. That's the magic of numismatics. It transforms ordinary objects into timeless treasures. Keep your eyes open. Keep your curiosity alive. Because one day, when you least expect it, you might pull a penny from your drawer, feel its weight, and realize you've just found something worth more than $1,000,000. Imagine this. You're holding a penny in your hand. It looks ordinary, maybe a little worn, the color slightly faded from years of change jars and glove compartments. But what if I told you this simple coin could be worth $1.4 million? Yes, a single 1975 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, that has left collectors stunned and experts speechless. Somewhere in America, this coin is still out there, quietly waiting to be found. Now imagine the feeling, finding a fortune in something you've seen 1,000 times before. You've probably held hundreds of pennies from the 1970s. You've probably tossed them in jars, dropped them in vending machines, or left them in the cup holder of your car. But there's one penny, one single 1975 with no mint mark, that breaks all the rules. A coin so rare, so unexpected, that it's become one of the most mysterious treasures in American numismatic history. Back in 1975, millions of Lincoln pennies were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Each coin carried the proud image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, his solemn gaze watching over generations of American hands. But something unusual happened that year. While Denver coins bore their signature D, the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally produced coins without a mint mark, struck a few pieces that didn't match the normal composition. Some coins from that mysterious batch were made with an unexpected mix of metals, or even struck using leftover experimental dies from the early 1970s. And that's where the story begins to twist. Somewhere between those production lines in circulation, a small number of pennies escaped, coins with subtle differences invisible to the untrained eye. These are the ones collectors dream about. The no mint mark 1975 Lincoln pennies that don't just lack a letter, they hide an error, a secret, that turns a 1-cent piece into a $1,000,000 marvel. Take a moment and think about that. A penny minted for everyday use, now worth more than a house, more than a lifetime of paychecks for some. It almost sounds impossible, doesn't it? But that's what makes coin collecting so magnetic. Every single coin has a story. Every piece of metal that's passed through history has a chance to become something extraordinary. And now, here's where you need to pay close attention, because the difference between an ordinary penny and a $1,000,000 discovery is in the details. When you pick up a 1975 penny, flip it under good light. Look first at the date. It should read 1975, cleanly struck, with no S or D underneath. Most of these came from Philadelphia, which didn't use a mint mark, but the key lies in the coin's texture and composition. Some of these rare pieces were struck on copper planchets with slight weight variations, around 3.11 grams, unlike later zinc-based cents that weigh 2.5 grams. The color tone and luster. The rare 1975 no mint penny shows an unusually sharp strike and a deep reddish-brown shine that refuses to fade. The rim appears slightly thicker, and the spacing in Liberty can be minutely different, a hairline deviation that separates a 1-cent coin from a $1 million treasure. Collectors and experts have spent decades chasing these details. Only a handful of verified examples are known, often hidden in private collections or tucked inside old bankrolls that no one's opened for 50 years. Imagine someone pulling a random penny from a childhood coin jar and realizing it was the very same variety worth over $1 million. It's not fantasy. It's happened before, and that's where the suspense deepens. There's no public record of exactly how many of these 1975 no-mint pennies exist. Some experts believe fewer than 5 are known to exist in high mint state condition. Others think there could still be dozens out there, buried in everyday circulation. Every time a coin jar is emptied, every time someone cashes in old change, another chance to uncover history is lost. Start by going through your coins carefully. Pull out every 1975 penny you can find. Weigh them. Examine them under magnification. Compare the rim, the spacing of the letters, and the depth of Lincoln's image. The rare ones often have slightly higher relief on Lincoln's hair and cheek. And if your penny looks different, if it feels heavier, brighter, or sharper, don't ignore that instinct. That small difference could be worth a fortune. Let's reset for a moment. Picture your morning routine. You grab your coffee, some change falls from your pocket onto the counter. You don't think twice about it. But what if that little clink of copper is actually the sound of $1 million hitting the table? That's the reality for a few lucky collectors who paid attention when everyone else didn't. Some of the most valuable coins ever found were discovered by accident. A man in Massachusetts once sold a penny he'd kept in a drawer for decades for over $1 million. He had no idea it was special, not until a dealer spotted the small, invisible details. The same could happen with this 1975 no-mint penny. You might already own one. You might have walked past it 1,000 times. The beauty of this story isn't just the value. It's what it represents, that even the smallest, most ordinary things in life can carry unimaginable worth. That in a world obsessed with gold and glamour, a simple penny can still capture the imagination of an entire nation. Think about the hands that coin has passed through the generations, the shops, the pockets, the stories. Each time it moved, its mystery deepened. Each time it exchanged hands, it carried with it the silent question, could this be the one? And even now, coin hunters across America continue to search. Late at night, under magnifying lamps, they sort through bags of old pennies, hearts racing, eyes straining, hoping to see that perfect 1975 with no mint mark, the one that stands out just enough to make history. Some will find nothing. Most won't even realize how close they came. But a few will, and when they do, everything changes. Their lives, their finances, their sense of possibility. Because when you find something this rare, you don't just find money, you find proof that luck, patience, and curiosity can still uncover miracles. So next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Look closer. You might be holding a story worth retelling, a discovery that could rewrite your future. And remember, the rare 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a coin. It's a legend. A whisper from history, a secret from the mint, and a symbol of how even the smallest treasures can change everything. Imagine this, a simple copper-colored penny, the kind you've seen 1,000 times before, lying forgotten at the bottom of a drawer. You pick it up, glance at the date, 2014, and think nothing of it. But what if I told you that one 2014 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, could be worth up to $1.5 million? A coin hiding in plain sight. A treasure disguised as pocket change. This is not a fantasy. This is real. And tonight, you're going to discover why back in 2014, billions of Lincoln cents were minted across America. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, machines churning out the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln. Most of these coins are worth exactly 1 cent. But somewhere, in the heart of the U.S. Mint, something extraordinary happened. A single planchet, a rare composition, or an unintentional strike error created one of the most shocking mysteries in modern coin collecting. A penny that, by all appearances, looks ordinary yet carries a secret worth over $1 million. Think about that for a second. People throw pennies away. They toss them into jars, under car seats, between couch cushions. Yet one of them could buy a mansion, a dream car, an entirely new life. The story of the 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one that reminds us that wealth sometimes hides in the smallest things. Collectors across the nation have whispered about this coin. It started with rumors, a strange 2014 penny turning up at a Midwest coin show. No mint mark, flawless details, an unusual surface texture that didn't match any typical issue. The dealer who spotted it almost dismissed it, until he looked closer under magnification. What he saw changed his life. Now, before we go further, let's pause. Look at any 2014 penny you might have nearby. Does it have a tiny D under the date? That's from the Denver Mint. If there's an S, that's from San Francisco. But if there's no mint mark at all, it came from Philadelphia, or, in this case, something that might not have come from where you think. The no mint mark version is where the story takes a twist. Around 2014, the mint experimented with plating methods and die variations. A small number of planchets, meant for testing or internal calibration, were mistakenly pressed and released into circulation. These planchets had unique metal compositions, some slightly off in weight, some showing ghostly die doubling on Lincoln's profile or on the word Liberty. One particular example surfaced with an incredibly sharp strike, satin-like finish, and almost microscopic doubling around the date. Experts confirmed it wasn't just an ordinary strike, it was a mint origin error never meant to reach the public. That coin sold privately for $1.5 million. You might be thinking, how can something so tiny, so common, carry that kind of value? But that's the magic of coin collecting. Value isn't always about gold or silver. Sometimes, it's about rarity, mystery, and story. And this coin has all three. Let's talk about how to identify it, because the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth over $1 million can come down to your eye for detail. Start with the mint mark. No D, no S, just the date 2014. Next, check the finish. Genuine circulation pennies from Philadelphia often have a standard sheen, but this particular coin has a strange, almost proof-like surface, with mirror luster and sharp edge definition. Look closely at Lincoln's eye. The rare 2014 penny shows minute doubling there. Under a magnifier, Liberty may also appear thicker or have faint shadow lines. If your 2014 penny seems just slightly different, heavier, brighter, or unusually crisp, it could be one of these mysterious errors. Collectors recommend weighing it. Standard zinc pennies from that year weigh about 2.5 grams. But the rare one? Slightly heavier. Closer to 3.1 grams, the old copper standard. That's the clue that sends collectors racing, and here's where emotion takes over. Imagine the feeling of realizing that a penny you've had for 10 years, tucked away in a coffee jar or jewelry box, could pay off your home. That tiny coin, smaller than your thumbnail, representing the hope of millions. Every time someone discovers one of these rare coins, it changes how they see the world. They stop overlooking the ordinary, but what's even more fascinating is that this wasn't supposed to happen. No record exists of a 2014 copper planchet release. Yet here it is, confirmed, tested, authenticated, and sold. How could it have escaped the mint? Some experts believe it was part of a test batch for die alignment. Others think it was struck on leftover copper planchets from decades prior, accidentally fed into modern presses. Whatever the cause, it slipped through, into circulation, into the hands of unsuspecting Americans. Now imagine that coin could still be out there. Sitting in a jar. In a desk. Maybe in a collection passed down by a parent or grandparent. People cash in rolls of pennies every day without looking twice. How many of them have unknowingly traded away $1 million coin for a single cent? Take a moment. Think of every penny you've ever dismissed. Every one you've left on a counter, tossed into a fountain, or ignored on the street. The next time you see a 2014 Lincoln penny, don't underestimate it. Flip it over. Look at the details. Feel the weight. The 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny could change your life. Every couple of minutes, collectors are finding new variations, small die breaks, off-center strikes, even transitional metals. The market is alive with excitement. Because when a single coin sells for over $1 million, the rest of the world starts paying attention. Let's reset for a second. You, right now, could be holding one. Maybe it's mixed in with a handful of spare change. Maybe it's in your glove box or your child's piggy bank. The only way to know is to look. Every great discovery starts with curiosity, and that's what sets true collectors apart. Think about the story you could tell. The day you realized your life changed because of a single penny. The pride in uncovering something that generations missed. That's not just luck, that's awareness, patience, and passion. Even if you never find the exact $1,000,000 coin, the act of searching connects you to history. Every coin tells a story of the mint, of America, of time itself. The 2014 no mint mark penny isn't just metal, it's a piece of a greater mystery. So here's what you should do: grab a magnifier, gather your 2014 pennies, and examine each one under bright light. Look for the weight difference, the mirrored finish, and the absence of a mint mark. Study Lincoln's profile, the nose, the beard, the edges of the date. The smallest imperfection can be a window into fortune, because hidden treasures rarely announce themselves. They hide among the ordinary, waiting for the one person curious enough to look closer. That shoe somewhere, in an old roll or forgotten jar, is a coin that the world nearly forgot. The 2014 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.5 million. It's not a myth. It's not a rumor. It's a reality that proves the smallest discoveries can change everything. Imagine a coin worth $1.6 million hiding right under your nose. A simple 1987 Lincoln penny, the kind you might drop in a parking lot or hand over at a gas station, could be the key to a life-changing discovery. It looks ordinary, dull even, but behind its copper shell lies a secret that stunned the coin collecting world. This isn't a fantasy. It's a real coin that has been verified, auctioned, and recorded. And tonight, we're diving deep into the mystery behind the 1987 penny that could make you a millionaire overnight. It all begins in Denver, 1987. The US Mint was producing billions of pennies, over 4 billion, to be exact. Most were common, mass-produced, and nearly identical. But among those billions, a few rare errors slipped through the cracks. The kind of mistakes so subtle, even experts missed them for decades. One of those mistakes turned an everyday penny into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure worth over $1 million. Imagine holding history in your hand, not realizing it's your ticket to financial freedom. Here's where the story takes a turn. In the late 80s, a collector noticed something odd about his pocket change, a 1987 penny that didn't look like the others. The color was slightly off. The weight felt wrong. It rang differently when it hit the table. He almost spent it. But curiosity stopped him. That single moment of hesitation turned into a discovery that would rewrite penny collecting history. How many pennies have you overlooked because you assumed they were worthless? What if one of them wasn't? The 1987 penny worth over $1 million is a minting error coin, a 1 in a billion type. Experts believe it was struck on a brass planchet instead of the usual copper-plated zinc used in 1987. That tiny difference in metal composition changed everything. This is where knowledge becomes power. Here's how to identify one of these rare 1987 million-dollar pennies. First, grab a simple scale, the kind you can find online for a few dollars. A regular 1987 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. But if yours weighs closer to 3.1 grams, you may be holding something extraordinary. Next, check the color. Regular pennies from that era have a slightly orange tone because of the zinc core beneath the copper plating. A rare brass planchet penny will appear richer, almost gold-like under light. Finally, look for that mint mark just below the date. If everything matches up, the weight, the shine, the mark, you may have the rarest 1987 penny ever found. But this isn't just about metal or mint marks. It's about what the coin represents, a symbol of luck, patience, and discovery. Every collector dreams of that one breakthrough moment. For some, it's a rare silver dollar or a misprinted quarter. For others, it's a 1987 penny that turned spare change into a small fortune. Imagine selling something so small, so ordinary, and walking away with over $1 million. Take a moment. Picture yourself at a coin show, surrounded by enthusiasts and dealers. Someone pulls out a coin that looks exactly like yours. You lean closer, your heart racing, as the appraiser turns it under the light. The color catches his eye. The weight surprises him. He looks up and says the words every collector dreams of hearing: "You might want to sit down. This one's rare." That's how fast life can change. From pocket change to millionaire status in seconds. But to get there, you must know what to look for. The 1987 $1 million penny is out there. It's real. And every so often, another one resurfaces, tucked away in an old jar, an attic box, or a forgotten drawer. The story doesn't end there. Some numismatists believe there are still undiscovered varieties of the 1987 D penny. They suspect multiple batches of planchets from earlier years accidentally mixed into 1987 production lines. That means there could be several still floating around in circulation, unnoticed for nearly 4 decades. If that's true, then the next $1 million find might not come from a vault or a museum, it might come from your very own pocket. This coin's value isn't just in its rarity, it's in its story. A coin's worth grows when people believe in its legend. Collectors crave mystery, history, and the thrill of discovery. That's what gives this 1987 D penny its $1 million power. It's more than copper and zinc, it's a symbol of hidden fortune. So here's what you should do. Tonight, take out your change jar. Grab your magnifying glass. Look for those 1987 pennies with the D mint mark. Weigh them. Study them. Every second you spend could uncover the greatest financial surprise of your life. Because somewhere in America, someone is holding that coin right now, unaware that it could change everything. Time and again, collectors underestimate how easily treasures can go unnoticed. They assume lightning only strikes once, but history proves otherwise. Rare coins resurface when no one expects them. A young collector found a valuable misprint in his father's collection after 30 years. Another discovered a double-die penny in a thrift store jar. Each story starts the same way, with a coin everyone else ignored. Think about what that means. The coin that could buy a house, pay off debt, and transform your future might already be in your possession. The 1987 D penny, worth over $1.6 million, has done it before, and it could do it again. The beauty of coin collecting lies in the unknown, the quiet thrill that maybe, just maybe, you've been holding history all along. So don't dismiss your pennies. Don't rush through your change. Every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth a fortune. And as you sit there, listening, wondering, maybe even reaching for that drawer full of old coins, remember this: every great discovery starts with curiosity. Someone, somewhere, will find the next one. It could be you.